Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Good morning, Susan. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello, Susan. Hi, Nikki. Morning, Brenda. Oh, okay. Well, I was a bit faint, was I? Sorry, Brenda. I was on my knees as well at the time, trying to sort this thing out. It didn't go live automatically. I don't know why. Well, it's a gorgeous day here, so I hope it is where you are as well. Hello, Erica. Morning, Helen. Oh, good, Erica. I'm glad you've got a good day as well. Okay. Right. I'll give everybody a few minutes to come in. So sad. Yes, I know you were there really early, Susan, weren't you? Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. Now, I don't know where you're getting that reflection from. Okay, obviously my light. I'm trying to give you a bit more light on things here. Right. Oh, right. Okay, Brenda. So a bit windy. Yes. Um, it can get very windy here as well, coming off the coast. So even here in New Milton, I just got to get through Barton on Sea as well, but it can get quite windy around here as well. Morning, Nikki. How are you? Okay, we'll just give everybody a few minutes. I know not everyone can join us this morning. We'll see how we get on. Hello, Lucinda. Lovely to have you along as well. Morning, Noreen, and happy birthday. See, I was waiting for you to come along. So happy birthday to you. I don't know if I can sing it all, otherwise I'll get I might have to pay rights for it. But I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Morning, Moya. What, me singing or you crafting? I'm sure it's you crafting. And I know, Lucinda, it was your birthday the Sunday after we all got together, so I hope you had a good day as well. Yeah. I hope you have I don't know if you've got any surprises coming, Noreen. That would be nice, wouldn't it? For your birthday. Nikki, is it? Oh, well, happy birthday to you. I didn't realise that. Excellent, Lucinda. Spare paper or paper to work on. Oh, the spare paper. Yes, sorry, guys. It's if we if you're using a stamp that's larger than the area that we're working on, then I've just got some little pieces of paper with masking tape on so we can protect the sides. Okay, the other bits of the pages. So that's what we're going to use for there. All right. So that's what it was for. If you want to try and get a second print from your stencil when we do it, then a spare piece of card is great as well. But I don't know how much you'll get off. So depends how much ink we put on, really, I guess. So you might want to try that. Oh, my card's got bent that I was going to use. I'll just get another piece. First time I've seen them together since March. Oh, brilliant, Noreen. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I know, and Pauline was lucky enough to see her dad as well in the week for the first time, so that was good. Oh, there we go, Pauline. Okay. Yeah, I think you have to sign into chat. So if you don't have an account, then you won't be able to do it. Did any of you have to create your own channel as well? Because I know some people have had to do that, so I'm not sure. I can't chat back to you. Well, obviously I can. I'm doing it speaking, but typing wise, because I can see your messages on the iPad because I'm working on the Mac because I can't use my iPad to do this. No, just have a Google account. No, I haven't actually done that. What, you just have to sign in then? No, I had to add to subscription. Yes, I'd like you to add to subscription. I'd like lots more people to add to subscription because then I could try and use my iPad overhead, which would be a lot easier for everybody. So my iPad I'm not logged onto. I'm signed onto my Mac, so brilliant. Yeah, I usually am as well, Nikki. I just have to come off on my iPad. I can't be signed in on two pieces of kit doing this, or I couldn't. I think that's what went wrong last time. So I'm not sure. I have to experiment more with that. Okay, right. I think we will. You did have to start your own channel. Oh, okay then. Yeah, it's You didn't know what, Nikki, that I can't be on both. Hi, Julie. Yes, I know you can't stay with us today. I don't know what you're saying no to now, Nikki. Sorry. Hi, Nicola. Thanks, Julie. All right, I think we'll make a start. So this is the little book. I'll show it properly to you now. I did forget to put some ribbon on mine. I'll talk about where you can do that later. But what we're actually going to do is, first of all, we're going to concentrate on what's going on inside. And I'm almost certain you're not going to get this done in 2 hours because I certainly didn't. So we'll concentrate. We'll do a couple of pages, and then I'll show you the cover, how we can do the cover. So I've just used a stencil in the background, as I mentioned, and I've stuck to the same colour palette. So I'm only using 3 colours. And I thought we would use Distress inks this time because they're not getting much of a look in. And I've been watching some stuff by Tim Holtz on Distress inks, which is rather cool. And as you can see, because they're translucent, you're still seeing the pattern. The pattern didn't move once it was dry. So you can actually still see it where I've been colouring it in, if you can see it. This light is not good. If I raise it up a little bit on the sail, yeah, there, you can still see the pattern coming through. Ooh, there we go, the texture of the stencil, and I quite like that. So I've just done, as this one's very obviously a coastal one, just keeping it right, kind of rather cohesive really in that theme. Now the yachts and these scenes have been done by Hobby Art stamps, which I know a couple of you asked me what I'd used. So I actually used the Hobby Art yacht stamps here. And it's quite a large pack, so I'll go through it for you. There we go. And this one is called Sailing. And then this is the coastal one. And these are, I just bought these new actually. The yacht one is a new one, I believe. Maybe not, maybe they've just released it again. And I thought they'd be quite good for a live workshop actually, as also the garden stamps that Clarity released as well. I don't know if any of you got them. And then the last one, you can see the only ones that I've actually doubled up on is the beach huts. Now you can replicate them to keep it cohesive if you want. But it's just keeping the colours and the theme the same all the way through this time. It's more about how to do it out of a sheet of A4 paper than anything else. And it helps if you get it level in the cover, but we'll come back to that later. And then the cover, I've left my back page blank, but we can decorate that as well. And so this is what we're going to start on. I have a couple of other books just to show you because I think we are going to do some more books when we go live. Hopefully that won't upset too many people. It's a nice way to practice different things. So this one is done with ATCs. So this is an ATC book, so it's much smaller. And then again, I've used the same colours. I've also put this in wrong as well, but that's fine. You can see that it still works. I should have done it the other. This should have been the back part of this. The other part should have been flat, so you'd actually get an extra page. And as you can see, I've done some different things on this one with embossing, which you can do on your one as well, and speckles. And then I'll quickly show you one that I did with Tracy. So Tracy Evans from All and Create, I actually did a workshop with her, and this did not get finished in the workshop. And again, this, I'll just show you a couple of them. This is done with paint and 10 pieces of paper cut out. And mine have moved when they've been glued, which is very annoying. But as you can see, this is what we were kind of doing. And then this comes out. But this is something that I'd like to do when we're back together in the workshop, because we can spend some time going through it together. Okay, so that's that one. All right, hi Tracy. Oh, don't worry, we haven't really done a lot, just said hello and gone through those little books. So there's some other ideas for books as well, and putting some embellishments on them. I'm going to keep this one pretty straightforward, and we can do a lot more once we're together and I've got stuff that you can use and share if you don't actually have it yourself. So I've got 2 pieces of paper with me, an A4 sheet and the little one. Okay, Erica, you want to do one like the Tracy Evans book? Yep, we can work on something like that. And then I've got a smaller sheet here for the cover. So there's a couple of ways you can do this depending on your stencil, but I'm going to do it so that I'm using, let's get that out of the way. I'm going to use this stencil from All and Create, which is the Abundance. It's called Abundance, and I just really like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up sections of it separately, although and then on the cover, I actually inked up the whole thing with different colour inks and laid it down all in one go. So it's really up to you. If you want to ink up the stencil and use it on the A4 and then straight onto the smaller card, then you can. That's fine. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is take our stencil, take our inks, and I've got some different colours this time. I'm going to use some flowers. This time round, just for something different. And I'm going to use Squeezed Lemonade, Twisted Citron, and Salty Ocean. Okay, just thought there would be sunny flowers. I suppose I could have used a different colour for the flowers. They're going to be blue now, aren't they? Maybe I'll change it. Okay, sorry about that. Let's go with White Persimmon. There we go. That's going to add a bit of colour, isn't it? So I've gone with White Persimmon. So let's give the flowers a bit of a dazzle. Some of them will be done in black anyway, but we can paint them in the orange. And we can stamp with the Distress inks as well if we want different. So we can have a look at that. So the first thing to do then is let's ink up a portion of the stencil. And then take your spritzer bottle. I'm going to spritz this off camera so it doesn't go all over the place. So you just want your ordinary little spritzer and give it a fine mist. You don't want it sopping wet. You just want it a bit damp. So give it a little bit of texture. Decide where you want to put it down. And then with a cloth or paper towel, just press it to the card. Oop, you can't see what I'm doing. There we go. So that's the abandoned coral. Sorry, I'll make sure I'm in shot next time. So you've got a little bit, if you've got any left like I have, and you've got some spare card, just spritz it and see if we can get any more off. And then, so if I take that out of the way and I come in with this extra spare piece, which is part of my journal paper, then we can see what we can get off of here. Yes, still quite a bit actually. Oh, this abandoned coral is going to go on forever by the looks of it. Okay. Oh, I really need to move this into shot for you. Sorry. Okay, that's the spare piece. And then I'm just going to clean up that part of the stencil. Right, make sure I can get closer to where you are. I'm going to try and move the camera around. There we go. So let's do another. I'm going to do a different side of the stencil this time. Yeah, that didn't move. I'm just going to ink up this bit up. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just going to ink this part of the stencil. Right, okay, I have, oh, sorry. Susan, no, this isn't watercolour paper. You can use watercolour paper. This is actually Pink Frog smooth card, which will take some water, but not a lot of water. The cover, Nikki, is, if you're using an A4 sheet, the cover is 10 and a, oh, hang on, is it 10 or 11? 11.5 by 16.5 is what I did mine. We can cut it down later anyway, but that's roughly where the size is. I have A4 plus the small strip. I have A4 plus the small. Yeah, you should need 2. The small strip should be the cover. Yes, is that what you mean? Same. So do we need smaller than A4 for the paper? Are you talking about the copy paper for masking, Erica? Because we can just rip it up. That's not a problem. Or are you talking about the extra bit that I'm just stamping on, which can be anything? So you've got A4 sheet for the main booklet, and then the cover size is 11.5 by 16.5. If you're using, that's what I made it for the A4 book. Yes, Lucinda, I'm doing it one colour at a time at the moment. I didn't when I did the cover, so I'll do the cover separately and do it all in one hit. So I'm going to switch this bit up. And I'm just going to lay this down somewhere else. This abandoned coral is quite fierce, actually. Maybe I should have stuck with a blue. Yeah, look at this. It's smudging. Well, that's okay. We get a different effect. That's fine. And put that out of the way for a minute. And then I'm just going to use a bit more on here. Just to bring in a bit more colour. Right. So you can decide on which way which part of the stencil you want to use, depending on what you're using. If you're using a square, this is actually a mask. Apparently masks don't have the edges, stencils do. So that's what the 2 different technologies mean. Oops. Right, let's go on to a different colour now. So now I'm going to use the green, and I'm going to come into this centre area. Get some green on there. And then I'm just wiping the mat up so I can bring the card back in. Not that I'm going to use the back this time. Think about where you want to put your green, your whatever your next colour is, on your stencil. Just lay it down again, and then if I move the camera closer rather than my piece of paper, right, there we go. Then just tap it down. Sorry if you've not seen what I've been doing before now. Right, let's have a look. I think your email had 1.5 rather than 15 for the cover. The inners, the A4 is what we're making the book out of. So these pages are the sheet of A4 paper. So when we cut them, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to cut the A4 in a certain way at the moment, and this is what's going to make this book up. Okay, so we're going to do it that way. Did it? Oh, did I have it 1.5? Oh gosh, did I really do that? I'm sorry. Do you want me to give you time to grab another piece of paper? Yeah, the cover, it should have been 11.5 by 16.5 for the A4. Oh gosh, I didn't realise that's what happened. Sorry, I didn't realise. Obviously, I had noticed it when I was typing the email. Yeah. I will proofread my thing in future more carefully. There'll be time to sort it out. There's no measuring. You can cut the cover down depending on what paper you've got to hand. So inking up again. Just keep inking up parts of your stencil and dabbing it over where you want. You need a sheet of A4 paper, Noreen. So you want the A4 paper, and then the cover, I had mine cut to 11.5 by 16.5. You're welcome. I didn't mean to confuse you all in the first place. Okay, so I'll give everybody plenty of time to get what they need. Everybody should have the A4, is that correct? You're all working on your A4, or slightly bigger in some cases. I know that some of you have got slightly larger. And I'm just going to add some yellow. Let's get the So we basically want to cover our card. We can overlap stuff as well. And then we'll go around just adding some extra colour, leaving some of the white showing through because it looks quite good. There we go. That abandoned coral is really bright. Right, is everybody with me? It's like as I cut off the ring. Yeah, it's fine, Noreen. It's fine. Your cover will just need to be a little bit smaller, but we can cut that down as you make it so you can see how big you actually want to make the cover once you've folded the book. Can we cut down the inners instead? I don't know what you mean, Erica. What? I'm not sure what you mean when you say cut down the inners. Because the inners is the piece of paper that we're gonna fold it into these little pockets, these little pages. So I'm not sure what you want to do there. Okay, so keep adding colour to your card. If we have the wrong size outer, then do we need to make the inner smaller? You can do. I would try and keep the inner the size it is at the moment, unless you're happy to work on smaller pieces of card. So yeah, you can always do that. Depending on how big your cover is, if you want to cut down these, it's not going to be that easy to do them because of how we fold the A4 paper, which you'll see when I do it. So it's probably easier to redo the cover because I can't see what size you've got, so I'm not sure where you're going to need to cut. When I show you where I'll give you time to work on the cover anyway, or to get the right size cover. Once you've got the right size inner, and then you can work out because the cover is actually done right at the end under normally, so I would do that last, other than just using the stencil. I'll just use that bit again, that's fine. That makes sense. Okay, let me have a look. I don't have the email in front of me to what I said, so let me have a look and see what I said. Let me see. Right, no, we can't use 16.5 by 1.5, won't do it. I see what you're saying. No, that should have been 11.5 centimetres. Because the 16.5 is what's folded. So the 16.5 is this way. It's going this way. And the 10.5, the 11.5 is this way. So there's no way of chopping it down. But if we concentrate on the book itself, the little bit first, the inner bit, then I'll go back over the cover again. Sorry, I just seen Pauline's message. There we go. I'm going to leave mine like that for the minute. The abandoned coral's gone a bit haywire, I think, but this is fine. This is fine for what we're going to do. And then I'm going to, okay, I'll show you what we're going to do on the cover if you haven't got the right size, which clearly you haven't got the right size because there is that error in there. So this piece of card I have made for the A4 is, the only way I know it's 16.5 by 11.5 is because I actually had a larger piece of card to start with and cut it down, if you see what I mean. So you can do that. You can have like a piece of A5 and then fold the book, because I'm going to show you how to do it anyway. Because you can use, I'm having a look to see if I've got another piece of card handy. Not enough of a size that I can actually show you. I don't have an A5 cut or anything. Oops, hang on, what's over here? No, they're just all the scrap bits. But if you have a piece of A5 or anything like that, we can then cut the cover down, because that's actually what I did. It wasn't until I cut it down that I knew the size I'd actually used, and I'll explain why in a minute when we get to it. So for those of you that have any card handy that you could use as your cover that you can then cut down, then I'm just going to actually colour the cover with the stencil. And the way I did it was I actually did mix the colours this time. So I put all 3 colours onto the stencil. And then place it over and then just press it down. So I've done all 3 colours at the same time. I want to do it slightly different on the A4 sheet so that I was more positioning it to get different kinds. And then there we go. This is like, I didn't put as much ink on, so it's slightly lighter, but that's fine. Can you see this? Okay, I'm going to put my overhead light on again, see if that helps you. Maybe that will. So here we go. So that's the cover. Okay. Right, and then that's the stencil can. Just go to one side for the moment. Okay, right. Put the cover out of the way for a minute. So we're back to our main piece of card. We need this dry. So if it isn't dry, you can either pat it off with a cloth, or if your heat gun is handy, because I know that you craft in different rooms in your house, or you're watching this in different rooms, then you can do that. But mine's dry, so hopefully yours will be too. Right. Is everybody at this point now? Let's not worry about the cover for the minute. Is everybody at this point now ready with their piece of their A4 card? Just give you a few minutes. Okay. I'll just give you a minute. Thanks, Nikki. Thanks, Nikki. The other Nikki. Thanks, Helen. Okay. Hopefully most of you are going to be ready. Yep. Okay. Doorbell rang. Oh, it's happening at your end this time, Nikki, is it? That's all fine. That's okay, Lucinda. It doesn't matter. It's fine. You can have it as colourful as you like. Okay, Eric, if you've got your A4 piece of card ready, then that's fine. We can go. And then I'll come back to the cover in a minute. So as long as you've got the A4, this is what we're going to be working on most of the time, will be the A4 sheet of card. Okay. Now, you do not, people have done this without using a scorer. If you happen to have one handy, you can use it. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. You don't have to. What we're going to do is fold it in half this way, first of all. Oh, well, I can wait for you, Erica. That's fine. We've got time to do that so that everybody's at the same point, because I don't want to do this if not everybody's ready. So we can have a few more minutes. I'm really sorry. I just didn't realise that's what I'd written. I'll pay attention next time. Who's beeping me? Oh, okay. Barbara can't make it. Okay. Okay. All right, Erica. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold it first. We've got to fold this in half. If you've got it landscape, so we're going to fold it in half to make 2A5. I haven't done that yet. We're then going to fold it back up the long way as well. So we're going to fold it that way. And then we're going to fold the other sides in half again. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So the first thing is, if you want to, you can fold the card and then just pinch where the middle is. It's about 14.85 centimeters if you want it on the thing, and then pinch again. And if you've got your scoreboard handy, then you can score it, which I have here for the minute, or your trimmer. If your paper trimmer's got a score on it as well. Now, I didn't score mine when I first did it, but it might crack. The card may crack. So if you're happier to do it with the scoring so you don't get the cracking, then obviously that's going to be better. So then I just made that as a tight finish there. Okay, so now we've got it folded in half. Then we're going to fold the other way. So now we're going to fold long. And again, I'm going to pinch the edges first of all to get this to be square. Ooh. And then you can score or go straight down it. Fold it straight in half. I think that's about there. And we can fold that in half. And I won't do the other two, for those of you that don't have a scoreboard handy. Okay, so hopefully you've got a piece of A4 that has been scored centrally in both directions, so landscape and horizontal. Okay, and now we're going to take each of the sides and put it into that part, the centre bit. Okay, and I'll just do this without. And then again on the up. So see, my paper is cracking, so I am going to have to score this bit. This is not the same paper I used to make the original book, but I've run out now. So I'm just going to score this bit. and then do the next bit. So what you should have is a piece of card folded into 8. You should have 8 sections. Okay, so we can keep folding them and then fold them back again. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is cut the center landscape line. So if you have your paper landscape, and we're going to cut across the long line across 3 of the sections. So you're going to come from one end up and you cut across 3. You leave one end attached, so you only cut across 3 of them. Okay, and it's up to you whether you want to cut this way or this way, depending on, you know, how you've done your stencil. So you need to cut. Now I am going to do it with scissors. You can do it with a trimmer. So we cut down the middle. There we go. So you should have a piece of A4 like that, that's cut that way. And I'll just give you a moment to all do that. Okay. Okay, Nikki, it's all go your end, isn't it? Okay, Susan. That's a good idea, actually, to make them for your students. Okay. Indeed, Erica. Okay, so hopefully we're at this point. Ooh, how exciting, Nikki. You'll have to save them till tomorrow now, though. Oh, not from... Yes, for you, for tomorrow. Okay, then. So with your paper, you're then going to turn it and fold it so that you do have the bit that we haven't cut will go in the center. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can either have it so the opening is at the top and this side, or if you've folded it the other way, you can actually then you can turn your paper and actually have the gaps in the side and the bottom. Do you see what I'm saying? Now I'm going to have it so it's this way up. And what you can do, and what I did do on mine here, is I didn't glue. Oh, well, I did actually, but it's come undone. I only glued the edges because what you can do is make a little tag to go in this part of the book. Oops, you can only see my hand. So this part. So if the glue hadn't have come undone, you can then put a little tag in here. Okay? So you could make a little tag. Have I got a piece of card? Yeah, so that I can show you. So you make a little tag. Obviously this is too big, and it will just sit in like that. Actually, hang on a minute. I'm showing you the wrong piece completely. It's this bit here. This is the bit I left open, wasn't it? Yes, it was. There we go. So you can put a little tag in there. Cut it down. All right. Obviously, mine's gone a bit stiff and that piece of card's too big. So that's what we're going to do. So in the first instance, it's easier to work on it if these bits here in the middle are glued. Okay, so they're the bits we need to now glue. And I just used ordinary white PVA, or Tombow in this case, but same thing. And I'm just going to glue mine all down in this instance. If you want to leave a gap to add a secret tag, if you want to, you can. But in this one, so if I cut this down a little bit, I cut this card down so, in a rather crooked fashion. You can see on here, in this one here, you could have a little tag you could have sitting in there if you're going to make it for somebody. If you had a little message for somebody, it could go in here. Okay. So if you're going to do that, then make sure you only glue down the edge, down the edges. And just have the little opening at the top. So what we now have are our 8 pages. So you can refold them. So they go, hang on a minute, this way. There we go. And so you have your book. All right. You can, if you want to, glue up the other sides as well. I'm not going to do that for the minute. I didn't do it on my other one either, but that's how we do it. It's just that this middle one needs to be glued to stop it from flopping around and everything and hold it in place. And then when it's in the book, as you can see, it just looks like this. Now, there are a couple of ways of using this, because although I've only used one side, if you were only to attach this piece of the card or the other piece, whichever one end of it, into the cover, you then got all of these to work on as well. They don't actually have the stencil on at the minute, but that's what you could actually do. You could work on those as well. But we'll just concentrate on this bit for the minute, all right? So you should now have 8 little pages that you can work on. Everybody got that bit so far? I'll just wait for everybody to catch up. Okay. Hey, well done, Pauline. That's good. Excellent. Well done, Tracy. Yeah. Just wait for a couple of the rest of you to catch up. Excellent, Erica. Is everybody else ready? Just give you a few moments, and then we're going to start stamping. So you might want to think about which stamp you're going to go with first. Thank you, guys. Let me know. Okay. Right. Well, I think I'm going to stamp the agapanthus first, since mine are starting to bloom in the garden. There is only really room for one. Is that going to be a bit? I could go like that, I guess. You can do whatever you like, of course. This is your experimental bit. If you've got a stamp that's a little larger that you want to use, then this is where I use the spare sheets of paper that I now can't find. I showed you them, didn't I? What did I do with them? The little pieces of copy paper that you can mask, that are masked. Okay, you can do that if you want to. Aha! Hiding under the cloth. So if you want to protect your other piece, if you want it going across too, then go across too. But this is now, we're going to start looking at the stamping. So we want to, if you want to use something larger and you're going to come in, so maybe if I was going to come in this way for argument's sake, I didn't want it over here, we'll just do it like this for the minute. So think about where you want to put your stamps, and then either using your press or a mount. Then add your first one. And I am going to stamp mine in black ink for these for the minute. And obviously I can't watercolour this one, so I will do one that's open so that we can then actually colour. So you don't have to use silhouette stamps. We're going to use open stamps as well, and then we're going to watercolour. Now I like to stamp on my stamp pad, and then what was I going to do? I was going to go this way, wasn't I? Then I'm going to stamp. So because mine's a silhouette stamp, I'm going to have to hold mine down a little bit longer just to make sure the ink takes. Okay. And then I'll bring the second one in. So whatever you're doing, whatever theme you're using, oops, which way did I come in? I'll come in this way now. It can come off the edge as well. Don't forget, you don't have to have everything dead center. So depending on the stamps you're using, you might want to come off. If you're going to do a little scene, most of mine weren't masked, although I did have a few that were masked, but I didn't want you to have to think about the masking in this session. So you could do that outside, part of your homework, if that's what you want to do. So that's stamped better. Okay. So on this first one, as you can see, I did mask because I had the deck chair. So I masked out the deck chair. Okay. So if you want to do anything like that, of course you can. It's your little booklet. It's now up to you what you want to do with it. So on this one, I'm just going to leave it with those two flowers for the moment. I do have my little butterflies. Ooh. Maybe I might even use a little dragonfly right there. I can put in a little dragonfly. We can colour this up. Clean that up shortly. We'll go like that. So has everybody managed to get a haircut yet? Oh, you still got to wait. There we go. So that's the first one. And then we're going to carry on stamping the pages. If you want to stamp, get that out of the way as well. If you want to stamp everything, we can do. I'll keep an eye on the time so we can do a bit of colouring in and then also of going over the cover. Oh, well done, Noreen. Yes, that's good. So what I'm going to do now then is just now you might want to, depending on the stamps you want to use, you may want to create 4 scenes and then use the same stamps on the next 4 pages in different ways, or you can just keep to a theme. Or as you saw in my little book, I only used the little beach hats twice. So it's just a way of keeping it together. But if you wanted to use the seagull again, for instance, in this example, then I could quite easily have stamped him over here, maybe masked him off and then put the grasses in. Do you see what I mean? So that we just keep it through. So in this instance, I have only stamped one stamp twice, which is the beach huts. There and there. But it's entirely up to you. If you've got a large selection, so if you're going to do flowers like I am, you may want to do different flowers on each page, or you may want to mix it up a little bit and use different parts of the same stamp on another page if it's larger, if that makes sense. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to get some other stamps and then start stamping away. So I think I might put the poppy there. And if you get a stamp and you think you don't want it there, have a look and see if it will fit, if you think it will go somewhere else better. And while I'm doing these 3, or the other 3, this middle bit here, when we come to stamp this bit, which of course is going to be thicker, then I would suggest we fold it out this way. Guess who didn't the first time? No, I decided I was going to go like that, which of course makes it thicker to stamp on. So I'm just, sharing what happened with me. So when we get to this bit, if we lay it out, then it's going to be a lot easier for us to stamp on. Okay, I would do the others individually, though, unless you want an extra piece of cushioning. So work along, look at what you've got, and it may be that I decide I want to put the poppy on this red one here, or because I am going to colour it in with abandoned coral, it might look better over here or on this one, and I colour over it. Do you see what I mean? So I'm just thinking about where I want to put my stamps. In fact, I think I'm going to go there. And again, if you want to just make sure you can't go, you're not going to go anywhere, this stamp fits in quite nicely, then use a piece of, you don't even really need, well, you might on this one, but if it's laying flat, then a piece of paper will probably just stay all right for you. It will keep it flat. Okay, that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so is everybody So do any of you have any plans for the weekend? Other than doing this crafty bit after I've got the garden I need to go and have a look at. Purely because the garden stuff is collected on Monday. So I need to go and fill my bag up again. I decided to join up to them rather than try and get it to the local tip, because I had so much garden stuff, and of course you had to go on your own, and of course they couldn't help you lift anything, so I decided I'm going to do that. Oh, Noreen, brilliant. Are you going to be crafting again, or are you going to be doing something else? Okay. Chatting. Over tea and cake, I hope, considering it's your birthday. Let's hope there's some nice cake. There we go. Nikki, have you got any plans for your birthday tomorrow as well? Of course, I'm asking you this and you have to stop crafting and type an answer, don't you? So what else am I going to do? Let's see. I think they're quite large. Let's go with the little. I've got a little one I can use. Little stamp. Who's talking? Oh, that's X. Is this the first time you've seen them, or have you been able to see them sooner? Let's do something with these, I think. Now, how does that work? So we could do that. And then does the butterfly fit in? Not that way, it doesn't. No, we had them over sea polar last. Oh, excellent. That's good. These are a bit big, aren't they? I'm going to do. Just keep thinking about which stamps you're going to use. I will bring in a larger stamp and just use a portion of it in a moment. Let's just use these. Don't know, they might not look like that. I know I shouldn't, but I can. Oh no, Noreen. Yes, absolutely. Bless him. Oh, we're so lovely. So keep stamping up your pages. Let's keep an eye on the time. Doesn't even look like I've used these larger stamps. I know I've used the little one. Let's just bring these in a bit. I might go off the edge slightly. all the time when you're stamping, think about where you want to place them. What's best. Okay, now, so that one will fly like that. Want another one from here? Or do I want the dragonfly? Okay, we could have that coming up like that, something like that. Yeah. So, did any of you get the Oh, of course not. How lovely. Yes, it was Noreen. Finally managing to be able to see them in the flesh, so to speak, rather than over FaceTime or Skype or anything like that. Did any of you get the garden stamps from Clarity on the 1 day special? I know you're all busy stamping now, aren't you? So, put these back over out the way. No. I was just asked. No, you didn't. I haven't bought them yet. I do like some. I do like them though, I have to say. Although, of course, there's a big all and create thing going on next year, next week. The mini ones. Did you get the groovy Moya or the stamps? I didn't know there were mini ones. I thought they were just the big, all those garden. It was in the garden, wasn't it? I thought that's what she called it. Right. I'm going to use. I don't know what I'm going to put on that one. Let's have a look. I think I'm going to put the rose on this yellow, which is going to go over the edges. So I'm going to mask it up. I know I'm jumping around here. That's just, which is what you can do, looking at which parts of the stencil are showing and which look best to stamps. The mini ones. What mini garden stamps were there? I thought they were the big sets. You know, the ones with the like the groovy that they'd had on. I obviously wasn't paying that much attention, was I? Delivery time is over 2 weeks with Clarity. She has made a number of people. Has she? How did you find that out, Susan? I didn't know that. I hadn't seen that. I know she was talking about some stuff on her blog being difficult. I didn't realise she'd made some of them actually redundant. Wow. Oh, in the club. Oh, you're still a member of the design club. Okay. Yes, it is taking a while. I ordered something a couple of weeks ago and still haven't got it. Oh my goodness me. Oh, did you? That's good. Oh, that's a shame that she's had to do that. That's not good at all, really, is it? We're going to have to rely on you for all the news. It was on the Shack Chat. Oh, was it? See, Brenda, I don't. There's 3 mornings. I can't even do that at 10 o'clock, so I haven't done any of them. So she actually mentioned that she had done it, or did somebody ask her? Well, I do think that's quite sad, really. Oh dear. Okay. Have a look at the time. All right. Just having a look at what the time is. Are you? Oh, people were saying how sorry they were that she had to do it. She was very subdued on Friday. Oh, Brenda. Yes, I definitely can't watch it Fridays. I'm working. The new shop won't open. Oh, within the factory itself. She was going to open the shop within the new place she'd moved to in Tunbridge Wells. Oh gosh. I guess everybody's been hit, haven't they? All expansion on hold. Oh gosh. Oh, that is sad. Right, I'll just stamp one more on here. Let's do the chrysanthemum. Of course, you could. Oh, hang on. Sorry. You could, if you wanted to, have sentiments in here as well. So if you had a nice if you wanted to make up a little book to give as a gift, maybe for a friend or something, or you could put sentiments in here as well. You don't have to always put a stamp. I'm going to put this stamp in, and then I'm going to go over the watercolor in, if that's okay. And then you can have a go at just doing a couple of them, and then I'll go over the cover. This is very straight, this stamp, isn't it? So it's not going to work looking like that. So we'll do this then. I'll just do this. Okay. I'll just stamp up one more. Oh, that is sad, really. Yes. How are you all doing? Have we got a couple of pages stamped up, or have you been quicker than me and stamped all of them up? Right. How are we all doing? Are you there? Give it some pressure. There we go. I always feel rather wary now when I go back to using amounts, having used the stamp press for a while. Doesn't hurt to go back though, does it? Get it back into practice. Okay. Right. Are your hands as dirty as mine? Let's just make sure they're all, the VersaFine is dry. Just blot that off. That's all right. Okay. Is everybody okay if I go on to do some watercolouring? Don't feel guilty now for buying the garden stamp. Need to support British business more than ever. Okay, Tracy. No, I like the garden stamps. I haven't bought them yet. I like the garden stamps. I thought we might use them at one of the workshops. Or use one or other of them. So you're ready for me to watercolour? Good. Okay. Hopefully everybody's in that position. I know you all know how to watercolour, but I think if we just do a couple of them. How many of you have watercoloured with Distress inks before? I don't know how many of you have. Have you done it with me? I know we've done oxide. Did we do Distress ink? I've had the Distress inks for so long, I can't remember what I have and haven't done with them now. Okay, let's take the poppy one, I think, for the starters on this one. So I'm going to do the poppy in, oh, it's not a Baden coral I'm using white persimmon. There you go. This one is very bright. Now, on the Distress inks, I don't know if you've noticed, if you put the ink down onto the glass mat and then add water to it, it tends, when we use the actual splodging method, so if you put the ink onto the mat, then spray it and then drag the card through it, it then becomes one colour kind of thing. They all mingle into each other. Whereas if you put it onto a mat, it should bead. It should kind of do more beading, which hopefully is what's going to happen. Now I have a mix mat from Clarity here. I don't know if you've used these, which are quite handy because you can see the colour as well. But if you haven't got one of them, and you have got your mat, your silicone mat, then hopefully when you add a bit of water, just press it down onto the mat. Now, when we're going to watercolour with these, there's obviously a couple of ways you can do this. You can do this with a paintbrush and water, or you could use a water brush. Now, technically they're the same thing, except obviously one's got to be dunked in the water and one's got the water in it. So if you're going to use the brush, wet the brush and then dry it slightly, but actually before you do that, bring some water onto the mat. Don't take the water straight into the ink. Okay, so we're going to bring the water onto the mat. This is a bit of a disaster over this stamped image editor. That's very good. So we've just got a bit of water there. Dry it, and in this instance we can then just take a little bit of water to the colour rather than making it all wet, so that we keep the colour intensity, if you like, and we can keep going back to it. And also it means if we're going to mix any colours, then you've still got some ink that you can use that's not had water added to it, and therefore we can take some of the intensity of the colour. If you're going to use a water brush, then with the water brush, always wet the brush off the card. So you get it wet, and then again you would take some of the colour. You can't see what I'm doing, can you? Because of the light. Can you see? Are you able to see okay? I'm casting shadow, aren't I? So put the water on the mat, which I did over there, and then just pick up a bit of the ink. Okay? And then again, if we're going to mix colours, which I'll mix some colours in a minute. I haven't really got the colours to mix, but we can mix them just so I can show you what I mean. And then you can take this. And if you feel this is too wet, then obviously you can dampen it down on a cloth as well. Okay. Right. I'm going to go with my paintbrush to start with. Let's see how that goes. A little bit of water. And then just take it across. You obviously want a bit. My brush is too wet. So get some colour coming in. Okay, we'll start light and build up. And as you can see, the ink underneath on this isn't moving. Too much anyway. It hasn't suddenly. Right, I'm going to lay down a bit. I'm going to take a bit more colour here actually, make it a bit darker so it's not as wet. That's better. Now this paper I'm using is really great to stamp on and great to colour on. So you have to be very careful with the watercolouring. So when we use this in the workshops, if we're going to do a lot of heavy water mixing and etc., then we'll probably go on to watercolour card. So I run out of machiner card. How are we all doing there? I should have been using Distress inks. Oh, Tracy. Well, so if you've got the oxides will do it. You just have to spray it in a different way, and they react to the water in a different way to the inks do. So this is an ink, and of course the oxide has got that chalky finish to it. You can still paint with oxides. They'll just give you a different finish. You'll have more of a chalky finish. Ooh. Be a bit careful. Ooh. Looks like I've got a hair. So I'm just going to bring some colour in. If we get a couple of these coloured in, at least a couple of pages will be finished. I can show you. Okay, so just bring the water over here a minute. Okay. I've got the window open, so I don't know if you can hear my next door neighbour with his motorbike. He has a few actually. He actually buys them not working and fixes them up. That's his hobby really. Here we go. Okay. So you're doing okay? So these are funky poppies, and there's no doubt about that. Especially with this green pattern coming through, very funky poppies. Okay. And then just going to add a little bit of green to this one. Okay. Right. And this isn't really good live sessions if I stop talking. Okay. So I'm now going to add a little bit of green. Poppy. To the leaves. Right. I mentioned earlier that I've been seeing some Tim Holtz videos. I've got some others to watch as well, particularly on the oxide one. So there's a couple of things we could try out at the workshop using the distress inks. No doubt we'll have some to do using the oxides as well. I don't know if you know, those of you that have got the distress, well, hopefully you're all using distress inks, but those of you, are you aware that on Ranger you can actually print off a list of all the colours? So you can then take them to the side, which I thought was very fun. Now I have to go and find it again because I don't know the web. I don't know where it is off the top of my head. I did make a note somewhere, but so yeah, on Ranger's website down the bottom, you can on the distress inks and for the oxides, or it's the same colours, you can print off all the name lists. So if you haven't already labelled them all up, I haven't labelled all mine up. You can, as I say, you can get this list from Ranger and print it on sticky pack on labels. So if you print it on labels, of course, then it's easy. You just cut them up and stick them straight on the edges. And now this is definite for distress inks. I don't know about all other inks. You know, there's been people talking about how you store them. So there was always this that they have to be kept flat. Well, distress inks can be stored any way you want. So you can have them flat, and you can have them on their edges, or even face down if you want to. So if you want to store them on their edges because you've got the room, and they're tins that they have, Ranger's tins store, and the oxides are stored this way as well, are stored on their edges, on their ends, and then they have the labels on the side so you can see exactly what you want. So you do not have to store distress inks flat. If that helps with your storage, then that's great news for you. It's going to help with mine, I can tell you, and with the labels on. That means I can carry them in the Deflecto stuff already labelled up, and we can see instantly what the colours are rather than them being stacked on top of each other. So I was very pleased to hear that. Now I'm going to do the rose. I'm just thinking about, I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to do two colours on here. So let's try and do, let's do a little bit of blending. So I'm going to do a yellow rose. I know it's on yellow, but I'm going to bring in some of the white persimmon. So I'm going to just do some more yellow. I don't know if this is in shadow for you. The angle of my iPad, I can't see whether you can see me or not. So we're just going to, I've just got yellow ink over here. And then we can add some colour. There we go. That's going on lovely. Although it is over yellow on this one. Probably not the best colour to colour in. Colouring over my pattern now, aren't I? Right, you can still see it underneath. because the inks are translucent, you're always going to see what's underneath them. Okay. Right, let's bring some colour in here. Just dry. Too wet. Here we go. Right. I'm just going to do a little bit of blending on this. I'm going to bring in some of the ripe persimmon, and then just a little bit at the base of the flower. I think just bring in some colour. And distress inks are designed to wick on the right paper. It was quite interesting. Tim Holtz did this demonstration using watercolour card, mixed media card, some Ranger card, and I can't remember what the other one was. And on the watercolour and the mixed media, well, he did the same on all of them. He just splodged some of the ink onto the card and then just spritzed it. And on the watercolour card and the mixed media card, then the ink wicked out. It wicked out across the paper. It was really interesting. So we'll have a look at that. And then on other paper, it didn't move. It just stayed in the one spot. That's apparently what they were intended for, to wick. That's why he wanted them. So they wicked with water. They didn't just stay in one spot. It's amazing what you find out after having these for years and years and years, isn't it, when you watch some videos? But, I think it's going to do it on this card very well. And then go back in with some yellow, I think. There we go. So you can see that you can. Oh, that's not blending very well. I was going to say you can blend these, but okay. There we go. Right, so I'm looking at the time and it's 11:34. So what I want to do, even though this is going to be a bit damp, so I'm going to have to try and block these off a bit. I want to show you how we go about making the cover. You can do it with any, well, you don't want a massive piece of card, obviously. But you could make it without knowing the exact size as well, which is what we'll show. No, don't tell Leonie, I've just mopped all this up. Right. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit too wet. Only because it's just going to blot onto the other card, which is fine, I guess. Okay. Do you have dry pages? If not, do you have a heat gun just to give them a quick blast? Right. Sorry, Tracy. What was that? Have you seen the price of your clean colour pens on Create and Craft? Back of 9. Yes, I did see that. I saw it on Hochanda. Is Hobby Art on Create and Craft as well then? Because I know she had them at Hochanda, and when I saw the price, I thought, oh my gosh. But on Hobby Art's website, they're that price as well. Because I thought, my goodness, for 90 of them, that's really, I thought that was very pricey, I have to admit. I was a bit shocked at seeing the price. So I don't know why they've suddenly gone up to that extent, because they were never that price to start with. Because if it's 300 for 90, what does that make that per pen? Have a look at that. 300 divided by 90. Yes, I know, Susan. You can probably do this. £3.33 a pen. So multiply that by 60. Yeah, so for 60, that would make that £200. Well, I did not pay that for mine. I know I didn't. So I was surprised at that, seeing how much it was. Oh, Susan, I've just seen your WhatsApp. That's really good. I've just seen what you've done on WhatsApp. That's so cool. But yes, I was as flummoxed as you were, Tracy, because I can't believe they're £300 for 90. 3.33 a pen. Oh yeah. Yeah, I just seen your answer, Lucinda. It's all right. I used the calculator on the phone. Right, this cover then. So even if you've got a bit damp, let me show you how to do the cover, which hopefully won't go wrong. I feel like it's going wrong. So with your booklet, you would then bring a book up. And you do this when you finish, because if you've added any embellishments on, not very thick ones, but if you wanted to put some sequins in, or you had some little flat cabochons, or well, they're not flat, are they? But like, I don't know, paperclip or anything like that, it might give it a little bit more bulk to it. So you then take the card, so you have it folded. I'm trying to see where the camera is. Right. Well, the trouble with the Phil Martin ones, Tracy, is that oh, that's a bargain, Nicola. Okay, Lucinda, I can wait a minute. Oh yes, on the answers you mean. Yeah, I think it's when I see them, because my iPad seems delayed. So when I watch it on my iPad, when I watch the video of me on the iPad, it's behind what I've just done. So that's why I stop and wait. The Phil Martin pens, Tracy, I don't know if you can get set 1 anymore, because he did a release and now you can still get set 2, and he's just released set 3. But I think he was saying once they're all gone, after a certain amount, they're gone. He wasn't bringing them back. Now he may do. I don't know. But so you have to be a bit careful with that one as well. Got me cover dirty now. So with the book, you have it folded. You then take the cover, and depending on the size of the card you're working with now, if you've got a larger piece, you can work it so that you then fold the card like that. So you wrap it around the card. Does that make sense? So you wrap it around your inner layers. Okay, and then you kind of mark. You want a kind of a flat back if you can get it, rather than a round one. So you kind of mark where the pages are sitting. That makes sense. So you can go in and then just give it a little mark. So you actually have a little ridge, and then once you've got the little ridge, you can then fold it. So you give yourself a tiny spine, is what you're basically doing, for your papers to fit into, rather than just being completely round. And then just keep checking that out. And so then when you then lay it in like that, so that's the size. Now obviously we need to do before we glue them in, we need to stamp whatever you want on the front. So you would stamp your image on the front and then wrap it around your pages. Does that make sense? Oh, okay, Lucinda. Does that make sense? That's how we wrap the cover around. Yeah. So what I'm going to do very quickly. Oh no, no, I won't. I don't need to do it. So what you would then do. Now you can make a decision here. If you want to work on the other sides as well and add some colour to the other side, the back side of it, so you actually have about 13 or so, because you're going to lose 2 of the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13. Then you would just add the front one, the very first panel, to the back. So if I turn it this way, so you'd have your opening here, and you could put another one here or something on the cover here. But this is if you want to be able to fold all of these in and then still pull all of these out. Okay, so if you want to work on the back, you would then glue your first piece on the back of the cover, and it would all sit like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. If you wanted just these pages to be the book, then you would glue your first page. Actually, you'd have it fold. You can fold them. It's easier to fold it on both cases, but you'd have your front page on the inside of your front cover, and then your last page is glued to the inside of your back page. If you want to add some tape to this, so some twine to keep it closed or ribbon, then because the spine isn't that big, I would suggest before you glue these in place, you add your ribbon here. So you just have some ribbon. So for instance, this is handy. This isn't what I would, well, I suppose you could use it. Oh, of course, the pack isn't opened and I can't open it. Where's the seal? Oh, there it is. So what you would do is decide where you want it to tie, and then as you're gluing your page, glue a tie there, and then you would glue another tie at the back, and that way I'll show you on oh no, I'll show you on this book. I'll show you on this one I did. So it sits underneath the pages of your book. Yeah? So it sits underneath. And that's the best way to do it if you want to tie it. Now, I didn't tie my first one. But if you want it wrapped, and you can have it so that one is short and one's longer, so you bind it around the end as well, if that's how you want to do it. Or you can leave it without anything, without any ties. Entirely up to you. But that is how you do the front cover, or the cover, not front cover, the cover of the book. Is everybody with that? Okay, Susan, yep. If you know that's the exact measurement, you can do that, score it. If you have a larger piece of card, you can then, once you've got your measurements, you would then mark, and you can then cut it down. So it's up to you how you want to do this. All right, so we could score either side. You can pinch them and then score. Or if you've worked out where it is, then you can measure and get an equal score going down the middle. All right. It depends what kind of, if you want a very tight, a very creased back, then that's how you can do it. Or some people just like to have it more I don't know, loose, really, I suppose is a word you could use. So it just sits like that, and that's how you create the cover. Yeah. That's how we would do the bigger book. So that's what I did measure it on here and score it. Well, I measured it the same way actually, wrapping the card around. Because it was thicker, I then scored it slightly. Okay, so that is a way of doing the cover. So if you want to have a thicker book, because you've got embellishments and things in it, then it's a great way of doing it because the cover is not a fixed size per se. As long as you've got the card big enough to cut down, then you can work out your own kind of measurement, if that makes sense. All right, and then we would glue, as I say, you then put it between, any ribbon or tie would go between your book pages and your cover so that it would be glued in that way. All right. And then if you wanted one longer than the other side, then of course you could always do that. Obviously cut one side and then cut one longer, and then you'd have two ends to, you can then wrap it around rather than just tying it into a bow or anything like that. Does that make sense for everybody? Yeah? And if you want a bit of a definitive spine as Susan has done, then you can be more precise with your measurements. Is that okay with everybody? Has everybody got any questions about the cover? Everybody all right? Now you wouldn't do the cover until you finished, thanks Moya, until you finished all the stamping that you wanted to do. Okay. And then all the colouring. So everything in your book is done first. You scored a spine as well, Nikki. Cool. Excellent. Everybody else all right? Okay. So I'll wait for everybody to actually have a moment to sort that out. And then I know we haven't actually finished. Excellent, Tracy. And of course, you can finish it in your own time and then share. Those of you that are in WhatsApp can share. Those of you that are not yet in WhatsApp or are not on WhatsApp, then I know you've got Facebook as well, some of you. Or if you want it in there, but you're not part of WhatsApp, then you can send it to me. And if you want me to put it in there so everybody can see it, then I can do that for you as well. Okay. All right. So that's that then. And then, of course, this isn't finished yet, but so there's the book and what will be the cover. All right. For a excellent, Lucinda. 2 for 1. Great, Brenda. Okay, Helen, you scored yours too. Excellent. It can look nicer. And then on a thicker book, so on this one, which we will be looking at this in the workshops, live face-to-face workshops, what we can actually do is put a hole in the back, actually in the spine, and so it can, the cover can actually come, the tie can actually come from the back and then wrap all the way around it, which is good as well. Yes, Lucinda, I did. Here's the original one. So the original one I did stamp on the cover first. So I stamped this first, coloured it all in, and then put it in. And in this one, I did actually add a little bit of a score to it as well. but I want you to see both. So if you don't have your scoreboard handy, then you can do it. You can wrap it. It depends on your card, really. What's the best thing? Because some card will wrap better than others. Um, yeah, I think when we get back together the first time, I think we might do the book because then we don't have to worry about who wants what stamps, where we're going from there. We can work with what we've got already, and um, I'll have all the pages and everything for you. So I'll cut them all to size and the covers and things like that. We can do things like that once we're in the workshop, and you can borrow bits of my stuff as well, or we can go more to town. We can add embossing, and we can do other bits and pieces with it. All right, we'll have more time. I'm not saying we'll get it completely finished, but we'll have more time to um, experiment and try out different techniques. So that's what we'll do. So we'll get to do one of the other books formats once we're in the workshop. All right, once we're back live, so to speak, and I'll be writing to all of you about that soon as well. I mean, I haven't even heard from Somerset, so I don't know when their hall's open. They did say that they wouldn't open it before August, so not yet, Erica. I'll write to you all because, as I said, Somerset Hall, I haven't heard anything from them at all about being open. I will drop them a line to see what their plans are. But when they did close it, they said it was closing until August at the very earliest. As they haven't got in touch, I'm not sure it's going to open August. But I will get hold of Peter and find out. With Dorset, yes, for the ATCs, yes. Well, this is I'll come back about Dorset in a minute. Susan, this book is ATC. So this little one I made here, the cover image and all these pages. Obviously, I've used bigger card, but then all the images are on ATCs. They're all on separate ATCs, which I then glued in. So I didn't stamp on the pages for this one. All right. So for Dorset and Hampshire, the hall is open. We just need to work out which will be the best time for us to start thinking about going back, and how we do it. Obviously, I'll have all the sanitizer. We'll have bleach and goodness knows what else in the room to clear up. It's whether you will be happy working possibly even with masks on. I don't know. And we share a lot of stuff. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best. I would like us to try and get together in September if it works for everybody. But I don't know. Well, I'll talk to you on email because we've got two different scenarios and the rooms are different sizes and there's different number of people in both groups. So, well, exactly, Noreen. And those of you that are shielding, no, you can't. Because people can go in restaurants and pubs, they have to sit down, they have to be apart. It's all very complicated still at the moment. So I'm not given an exact date. I'd like us to try and get back for September, October. Whether that's possible or not, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. I will keep going with these. I'll try to give you the right instructions next time for your card sizes. What I will because what we're going to be doing is a card next time, but it's a card. It's not just a straight card. It will be it's not an interactive kind of card. It's a different kind of card. So I just need to check. I haven't made one up yet. I thought I'm going to let you be surprised. Coming from, yes, Erica. And I think when we get together, it would be a case that we will have to wear face masks. And I struggle wearing them around the supermarket. So all day long, I don't quite know how we're going to do. We have to keep going outside, keep taking them off. Yeah, we could have it either end of the tables, or it could be you all have your own table. So again, it's things to work out and how many people. So I'd like us to try and get together if we can. I appreciate some of you have been shielding, and like my dad can't do anything anyway till August. So I'm just waiting to see what happens with all of that. And I know that I am at the moment, if we go in the hall, anybody using the hall at the moment is being asked to do all the cleaning. So we just have to make sure we've got everything else. Yes, Erica, my heart goes out to anybody working in them. My hairdresser was nearly passing out in them, and I know my friends who are hairdressers are getting really hot. How they've done that certainly in ITC, I have no idea how they've worked in them all day long. I don't know how they've done it. They're just incredible. So we'll see. I'm taking it slowly at the moment. I don't want to say yes, we'll definitely do a set date until I know a bit more about what's going on for everybody. All right, if that's okay with everybody. If you're happy to come back in 2 weeks' time. I've just seen a message from Pauline. Hang on a minute. From August, reshielding could all be almost back. Yes, Pauline. You're the same situation. So I'm kind of going with what Dad's allowed to do. Yes. I go. Well, I'm in awe of everybody who has to wear all that kit to do their job, because it's just incredible. It's incredible how they've done it. So if you're happy to come along in 2 weeks' time, then we'll do the card. I will give you all the measurements. We'll probably be using some pattern paper as well. Thank you, Nikki. I thought we'd do a card. We've done a journal and we've done a little book. So the card isn't going to be a straightforward card. We're going to do a little bit of extra bits and pieces on it as well. So we'll do that, and I'll think of something else for the following week. But I'll just keep doing this for as long as you want me to. And yeah, yes, Noreen, I've got shed loads of pattern paper. If you don't have a lot of pattern paper, if you've got the clarity paper, then that's fine. Oh, thank you, Nikki. Yes, when I did mine, I had quite a few ideas from Tracy's one as well. So I've got lots of different things I want to play with. There is another thing you can do with this book, which I will show you another day as well, I think, just to change it up a little bit. So what was I saying? You could use Clarity's paper as well as the background. We're going to create toppers, but it's going to be with layers. It's just going to be different things that we're going to do. All right. Yeah, I agree, Noreen. I do like it when you're all here with me as well. Thanks, Helen. It's great, and hopefully we can get Chichester back up and running next year. You never know. Maybe we can try it. Thanks, Tracy. So I'll see you all in see you, as you know what I mean. See you all in about in 2 weeks' time, if that works for everybody. If we'll all be back. So thank you for today. I am really sorry about giving you the wrong measurements for the cover. I just did not see that, and I'll double check that. Okay, Nicola. I can do that. I wasn't necessarily going to stick to a particular stamp set for everybody to use while we're doing the workshops, as not everybody might want to buy them. So I'm more than happy just to use with whatever you've got at the minute. I know that she does need support, so I'm not sure what we're going to do there, whether or not I go down a particular theme. I might do, I might not. I'll see about that. Yeah, you don't have to rush to finish them today. Take your time over them. Tomorrow's fine. No, only joking. Just whenever you can fit them in, that's great. Noreen, have a fantastic rest of your birthday. I hope you have a really lovely day. Nikki, have a fantastic day tomorrow as well. I hope you both get lots of tea and cake and lots of surprises or treats as best you can in the given circumstances. So, yes, Erica, other companies do need it. As I said, the Hobby Art one. It's basically any of the smaller companies are all going to be struggling. So I think I'm happier at the moment not to use a specific stamp set, because I don't want to force all of you down that route. But as you say, Noreen, you know, those that want to can, and those that can't. So I'll have a think next week. We'll stick to it, but if I'll have a little think, about what we're going to be doing. All right. So I'll sign off now because it is 12 o'clock. So you're probably desperate for another cup of tea or lunch, even lunch, or you may want to go and watch a Chanda with All and Create with Leonie, whatever you want to do. Get out in the garden or whatever. So I'll say bye for now. Yep. Okay, Brenda. Thank you. Yes, Susan. I'll say bye for now and catch up with you in 2 weeks' time. Okay, then. So thank you. Bye bye.